Okay, let's now have a look at video 2. Before we do, naturally I need to put up on every video the understanding the risk. If you haven't already read my risk disclaimer, please do. Let's now go back to the ES 1000 volume from last Friday's action. Now you can just see the amount of with trend trades. Once again, our main indicator here is our yellow EMA. Now we start to level off here, the alarm bells start to ring, we start to feel fairly concerned, get ready to exit the market, exit a trade. Now to explain the T20 again, in this particular case I'm not going to use, well I can use, as here you can use the cross of the 8 and the 34, or you can go and use the cross of the trigger line, which is our brown line, and the 8. So it gives you an entry here and it gives you an entry here. Now what I do want to point out here is an indication signaling a change in trend, and when you really start to have the alarm bells ring. Notice here we've had a lower low. We've now formed a double top. I've got a lower low again, so that's this is my second lower low. We go up, I have a lower high, so this is confirming to me now I've had two lower lows and a lower high that I'm in a downtrend, at least for the short term. Because I wanted to show you this here. Notice the 200. You had an 89 bounce here. You had one that punched through the 200 and then continued up right here. You had a T20 right there, but you may have taken this in the direction, but then you had another one right here. Why wouldn't you have taken that one? Well, you've got two lower lows now. There's a low, and even lower again, pushed up, double top, drop down. That's our second lower low in the series, a lower high. So we're only looking for shorts, and look what we've got here, a lovely T10, and here we've got a lovely T2. So both very easy, profitable textbook trades, T2s and T10s. Now moving along, let's have a look at what I call a danger zone. So you can see here we had another T20, 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 T20. Now look at the convergence of our indicators here. One of the things you want to look down at is what is my long-term stochastic doing. You can see here we're in an uptrend. What is this we get here? A T10. We have an entry on the close of this candle. Our stop is 1 to 2 ticks below there, and of course that delivers. And you happen to also receive a T2 down here. So a T10, a T2. Now this one you still would have been in when you had this trade. Yes, it come down and it touched the low there, but that 1 2 4, that was good for 6 ticks, I think, from 1 2 3 4 5. That ticked up 6 ticks. Now as a reminder for the newer traders, just because something touches 6 ticks, it doesn't mean you actually got filled. So you really want to start to be concerned with this, because you can see here that really our moving averages have rolled over, and we're in a downtrend, and look at the divergence we've got here. So down here we had another a lovely 200 bounce again. So this is technically a 200 bounce. You had a 200 bounce there, then a nice fall away. Now let me go and apply the channel, because I want to see whether or not we had at this point, this almost formed a T89, but notice my entry is actually would have been in the channel. So I actually personally wouldn't have taken that trade, because when I take a trade, a divergence trade or a counter trend trade, I want to really make sure I've got good angulation and my entry is outside the channel. So moving along now, let's have a look at some of these others, and this is where you get what I call the sweet spot. Now you could hit these areas. Let me go back to this for a moment. Sometimes you can hit this area and have 1 or 2 losing trades. If I have 2 losing trades and it appears that the MAs are going sideways, I'll just sit it out and I'll wait for a new trend to be confirmed. how do we confirm that? We can see our 8 EMA goes under the 34. We can see that our 34 is under the 89 and the under 89 is under the 200. So this is pretty much confirming. We can also see that our short-term stoke is heading down and we've got a crossover on the platinum. Everything is pointing down. So at times you are going to get hit in these areas, but this is why having your risk-reward ratios right, you'll be fine. So let's go and have a look here. Now remember the rule of 3. Now the rule of 3 is be very careful after 3 trades in a row. So here you had a T10. Now the T10 does not count, by the way, in the rule of 3. You've gone up, you've come down, 1, 2, 3. Now I've marked this up as an entry here, and the reason I marked that up is that you've had a T2. You had technically one there as well, but you're already in that trade there. It was also a 34 bounce. 34 bounce, that's your second T2, third T2 by the way. That was a T2, but if your stop was there you were fine, but notice it come back down and kicked under. Now remember, and let me just cover this with you, your stop should be 1 to 2 ticks minimum under your nearest swing low, which is right there. See how this ticked down, but you were kept okay in that trade. Now the comment I've got right here is this: the further your entry is out of a channel, the more likely you are to have a pullback. And that's what I love about using our 21 EMA channel, is it's really good visually. Now another little confirming tool to take the trade with the trend: have we crossed or are we above the 8 EMA? I don't want to be too above, because the comment I've got here is for further away. Now as much as all of those were good trades, you just want to be very, very careful. So we've had well and truly 3 to 4 trades in this trend. We can now, if we are counter trend trading, we can now start to look at divergence trades, and we've got one right here. Let me just mark this up for you. Okay, so you've got it right there. Now let me just go through that rule again. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 trades, then we were happy to really look and focus on our divergence trades. This is another case where you could have really been smacked around a lot by counter trend trading. You've got divergence here, you come down and you bounced off. Okay, there's only 3 or 4 ticks in that trade. That would have been a losing trade. If you take that divergence trade there, this little one here, look what happened, it failed. But if you were to draw 2 trend lines and do a channel, you'd find we'd have a perfect channel. So it channeled all the way up to the top here. There's no great angulation away, and in this particular case we waited for 3 to 4 trades. Now we then, what have we got right here? We've got a T20. Now the comment I've got here, T20s are much more likely to succeed when off a T89 or a T19, and it makes sense, doesn't it? We've gone well above or beyond the moving averages, and it's a snapback type trade, so they're much more likely to succeed. And of course, look at that there, bang, you had another entry there, and your best T20s are with what? Are either at the end or the start of a new trend, or with the trend when you have micro pullbacks. Now what I want to show you here is T20 and another T20 here. If you sit back and look at T20s, they're a fantastic trade, but they're a more advanced trade because you are semi counter trend trading here. So what have we got here? We've got a very nice here, this is T2. Over here we've got a T2. Here we've come down, oh by the way, we've come down here and we've bounced temporarily on the 200, but notice once again how close we are to the MAs. It's failed, it's gone through. Now we want to be very, very careful because our 200 is moving sideways. All the, as I've got here, all the MAs are now vertical, horizontal, sorry, are all very, very horizontal here. So you just want to be careful because this is what I call the killing zone. But then Notice what happens here. We get this fantastic run again, fall over 34. Now this is once again where the counter trend traders get hammered again, because they keep going. You've got divergence here, but look what happened. Would have had a lot of divergence traders tried to get in here, because you've got divergence. Let me just mark this up for you again. Between there and there, you got divergence. You got a lower low on price, a higher high on your platinum. Bang, it hits you. Here again, lower low, higher high again, and it collapsed again. This is where you've got to be very careful. It's hard to catch a falling knife. So let's have a look. One wave, two waves, three, four. What happens now? Oh, and by the way, T2, T2, and for new traders watching this for the first time, or those just watching this, T2s are one of our best trades. T2, 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 and we've got another one again. Okay, then we get a bounce up. Okay, you've got a T10 there, you've got a T2 against our 89. Then what have we got here? We've got a lovely divergence trade with trend there, and I think I mentioned this earlier. Traders, when you get these divergence trades with the trend, they're very, very high probability. So you can see it there, see my higher high on the price. We've also then got, by the way, you had a counter trend at T20 with trend T20, T20, T20. So as you can see, a really great trading opportunity. Counter trend T20, let me get it right, T20 with the trend I should say. And that's where I keep saying, counter trend traders, be aware. This is where you get hammered. Now, where you have counter trend trades of a T89 off the pivot, they can be high probability. As you can see there, that would have been a good 6-tick trade. However, they're a higher risk. So traders, once again, I've covered a great deal in this video. This is of the ES, one of the largest Forex, let me get this right. You can tell it's been a long day. It's one of the best markets in the world. Incredible volume. It's not uncommon to see 1.5–2 million contracts traded a day in this market. So have a look, but once again, become a specialist. Your best trades to start with are your T2s. Look at these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is where don't change your game plan. If you have 2 outs or 2 losing trades in a row, sit back and wait for that trend or for the new trend to form. Thank you traders, I hope this has been useful. If you haven't already done so, if you kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel, thank you very much.